What's up, y'all? Welcome back. If you're new here, welcome to the video, welcome to the channel. In this video, we're going to be going over some things on the motor here as far as like vacuum line, mapping all that stuff out, and also talking about some of the Skunk2 things. We've got a Skunk2 intake manifold and throttle body, and when you add those things to your Evo 8 and 9 motor, some things change, and so we'll go over that stuff as well, but let's dive into it. Alright, so first up, I want to go through real fast and write down on the tape I already have on the lines and stuff, like blocking them off, what they do, where they go, all that kind of stuff, and then we'll jump back. Alrighty, so I got that stuff written down. Some of this stuff's pretty obvious, but I also just wanted to do it just for a visual effect to remind myself and show myself. So obviously, this is the feed line here. It's coming right into the thicker side of the line, so obviously that's the feed. Heater core line here. Heater core line here. Those two hoses go into the firewall of the car, into your heater core, and then obviously lower radiator hose. This is the water feed to the turbo, and this is the water return on the turbo. So got all that mapped out. Now the stuff that changes when you add the Skunk2 things. We have a Skunk2 68mm throttle body going onto here, and when you add that part on there, you get rid of your OEM water lines. I put plug on this one here and this one here, but I don't know what kind of plugs to really use for that, so I'm gonna do some calling real quick and see what we could do here, and yeah, go from there. So, some other things that change when you add this Skunk2 intake manifold is your vacuum ports are all over the place, and so those change location, and so we have two here, we have one down here, and then we have three on the back here. You can use these however you need to. I talked to Skunk2 about that, and they said you can move it around however you wanted to, keep things hidden however. So we're gonna go ahead and try to map out this stuff on here now. It's kind of hard not having the hose, it hasn't showed up yet, but we're gonna go through and figure out where we wanna put things. Okay, took my little caliper gauge and we measured my first line here, which is the brake booster right here. This thing is 0.34 inches or 11/32 ID. And so the fitting on the Skunk2 manifold, every one of these holes is a 1/8 inch MPT. So I have to go 1/8 inch MPT to whatever size we need for the hosing. And so they only, from what I can find so far, go over here to my computer, from what I can find so far, they only have 1/8 inch MPT to like 5/16, which I could clamp that and it probably would be fine. So we can run that there. And so now, basically where this brake booster line went on the OEM intake manifold was all the way to the other side. And so that being thought of, I could do a straight fitting right out of here, and we're gonna go to the far end and we're gonna write BB for brake booster. Now, I know for a fact that I want to keep the vacuum line coming from the blow-off valve over here. I want to keep it kind of hidden, so I want to run it down and under, I think, and we're going to use this first plug for right now without having anything to like run it or whatever. We're going to use first plug here will be BOV. Now, next up is the PCV or the check valve, which is this guy right here, which we're not going to be running this one. Even though I ordered a new one, we're going to be running a JDM version because this hole right here is a certain size and it has this little fitting which got destroyed trying to remove the old little angle piece off of it. It's soft, and so it just got all messed up. And so these, of course, have been focused. These have been discontinued. Obviously, why wouldn't they be? And so I called STM and we talked a little bit, and he says that the JDM hole is slightly larger. It's not by much. He says the JDM with the rubber grommet and PCV valve they have on their website, he says he doesn't see any reason why that wouldn't work in there. So we're gonna order that one and get that here on the way. So we're going to the JDM style. I'll link all that down below so you know what I'm talking about, but he said that will work. And we did talk about how this fitting has been discontinued, and it kind of sucks because, you know, what else you're supposed to do and he says that they're going to look into maybe CNCing one of these to be able to use and to fit into there, which I think would be a really cool product idea. But anyway, we got that fixed up. So the PCV is coming off of this, and so we'll just run it down to right here, and so that should be a short little distance, a little bit of hose showing. Maybe we'll run things out and then down and under right here to maybe make it a little bit cleaner. Now, the reason why we're running the PCV or the check valve is you don't want to delete that unless you have a breathable oil catch can, I've heard. So we have the two tin and lines right here coming off of the valve cover to go to the catch can, but having the check valve still connected was important because we don't have a breathable catch can. We have a Cusco catch can down there somewhere. You can't see that, but we have a Cusco catch can and it doesn't have a filter or like a breather on it. So yeah, had to run the PCV, had to figure out a way to figure that out because of this thing being messed up and not being able to work anymore. So had to come up with a solution, and I'm glad the guys at STM were able to get me in the right direction there. What is a PCV valve, you ask? Very good question. I know what it does, but trying to explain it will probably be technically wrong. And so PCV stands for positive crankcase ventilation. It says here if the PCV is bad, or in this case if it was missing probably, it throws your air fuel mixture out of balance and can lead to poor performance, rough idle, as well as misfires. Also says here in the information about crankcase ventilation systems, it removes unwanted gas from the crankcase of an internal combustion engine, aka that. The system usually consists of a tube, a one-way valve, and a vacuum source. The unwanted gases called blow-by are gases from the combustion chamber which have leaked past the piston rings, which catch cans, all that kind of stuff. Like I said, if we had a vented catch can, we could do no PCV, but we do not have that with the Cusco catch can. So yeah, that is that. And if I am wrong in saying any of that, drop a comment down below and let me know what I'm saying about it is wrong so I can learn and so everyone else can learn. We need some vacuum lines from the pressure regulator, the pulse damper. It comes with this guy here, this little Y piece. So we'll run that like this, and I'm thinking maybe just going into one of these right here on top. If all of this sounds super confusing, trust me, I know I'm confused as well, or have been, trying to find, you know, all this stuff, but it's just measuring and it's just calculating and it's just finding what you need and routing what you need. And so now I'm gonna go on and try to find some fittings, and we'll come back and I'll let you know what we're gonna do as far as like angling the fittings, all that kind of stuff. And so yeah, for these fittings and how I want them to angle, I think personally, I would like to run the brake booster. I think will be straight because it kind of has like a bend in the hose. It kind of comes right into that anyway. So I think doing a straight one will be fine on that. And then for the BOV, instead of having the hose like come around and have to like loop around and come into it, I think I want to do like a 90 on this one. So we'll do this comes out and then goes this way 90 degrees, and we can just run the hose right into that. So BOV will be a 90. The check valve, I'm not 100% sure on that yet. Maybe like a 45. I think a 90 is too much. I guess it would depend on if I'm going to run it over or under. I would rather do it under because if I go over, it's going to block the Radium logo. I know that's like minuscule, but I think I would like to have the Radium logo be able to be seen. You know what? I think I'll just order a 45 and a 90 and we'll see what works. And for the pressure regulator and the pulse damper, I think we'll do a 90 on that as well. It can come up and go straight out there. I was not a big fan of, let me grab you real quick. I was not a big fan of how this looked right here on the logo. It's kind of like crooked or whatever, but where it's going and how it's running, I think that's the best way. So we'll leave it there. As per usual, I hope this video helps at least one person out, and if not, it's at least entertaining. But when I was doing this and I was looking up how to put on and like information on the Skunk2 stuff on the Evo, I could find almost nothing as far as like information, how to run things and whatever. And I thought I would do a video of like detailing my process of trying to figure out how to run all these vacuum lines and blocking off all of these water lines that get removed and all that kind of stuff. And so yeah, it's a little bit tedious, which I always talk about tedious and the details and all that kind of stuff, but I figured I would do a video and kind of show you guys what we're going through, what we're trying to figure out, and all that. And just for the sake of being thorough, we'll do FP FD, and we'll write block here. Doesn't matter which one, we'll figure that out once we get the line, but yeah. Now, going back to the water lines that get removed because of the Skunk throttle body, I called the guys at STM and I asked them how they do that. Because plugging it or capping it, whatever, the stuff I could find online, they all just looked like crappy plugs and stuff like that, and I didn't want to like put it on there and then it fail or whatever, and so I was like, do you guys have a brand you use or whatever? And he said, which I didn't think about, which I should have, but they've tried a bunch of caps, he said, plugs and all that, and some of them fail, some of them melt, they can't handle the heat. So now they use the vibrant push-on hose, and they create a loop. And so what we're gonna do is gonna get some, I think he said 6N. I'll put it on the screen if I'm correct. If not, then I'll make fun of myself. But I think they said they use 6N push-on hose and they just loop it around. And so creating that loop will just keep everything cycling through and we don't gotta cap anything off and worry about all that. So I think we're gonna do that. We gotta order some hose anyway because the turbo water return line has been discontinued and mine actually ripped when we took it off a long time ago. And so we got to make a new one of those to kind of come down and go to the turbo line. So we'll just order that line and do it all at the same time. And like I said, I will link everything down below, all this stuff I'm talking about, rattling on about. It'll all be down in the description below so you guys can check it out if you're doing this. One thing to remember on these fittings is I don't need like AND lines, I need like push-on fittings. So it needs to be a male NTP to a push-on or like barbed fitting on the end of that. Except for the catch can fittings, which I'm going to switch. This is the old, I had an old Cusco catch can on this thing a long time ago, and this is the old fitting from that, and this is a 6AN fitting. I didn't like how these kind of just like faced down, and so we'll get some AN fittings that come straight off the tank and they'll go right into this right here. We also need to find some like 10 AN to 6 AN reducers if they have that. We'll look for that and see. I don't know if up until this project, if you're doing these parts or not, if you guys have looked at like hose fittings and whatnot, but there are so many different kinds of fittings for these things. It's actually kind of wild. All right, I think we got everything we need. I went ahead and bought multiple angles, 45 and 90 in multiple size barbs. Just to be sure we have everything when they show up, we'll be good to go. We got plenty of hose, we got plenty of line as far as vacuum line goes, all that kind of stuff. So I think we should be good to put all this stuff on there in a couple days. And with that, I think we're gonna end it off here. I think we got everything figured out we needed to get figured out. If the video felt kind of scattered, that's how my mind works. It's always going 1,000 miles an hour, and so we worked through all my thought processes and all that kind of stuff of getting everything ran and all that, and so I think we're good to go. We'll get that stuff ordered. We'll get it here in a couple of days. We'll throw it on there and get it buttoned up as best we can. I want to try and get the motor as buttoned up on the back as possible before dropping it back into the car, because I don't want to be like reaching over the bay, crawling around back in there and all that kind of stuff. I'd rather get as much as I can on the back of it now while it's out. So yeah. Thanks for watching. I do appreciate it very much. As always, drop a comment down below. Let me know what you guys think. And if you have any questions on the Skunk2, like intake manifold or throttle body, let me know down there as well. I'll try to help you out as best I can, chat, whatever. But hopefully the video provided you some value. If you did find value in it, go ahead and drop me a subscribe and a like down there. I'd appreciate that very much. It helps the channel out a ton. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Bye.